Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show. Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. Like I mentioned the other show, that it's time to to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Chinese American Film Festival, and the grand open day is scheduled on November the 4th, and the location is Pasadena Civic Auditorium. From that day on, after the red carpet walk, after the cocktail reception, the award presentation, which is the Golden Angel Award, and the screen of the show of the winning film, there is a full month you're talking about of screening after screening after screening. Mm-hmm. Totally, you're talking about winners after the 250 to 300 submissions so far. Well, a full month, very compact activities. I call it the festivities because lots of things are going on. On top of the screenings, we're talking about seminars, forums, and a platform for signings or ceremonies for producers to put the money in somebody's basket. I don't know who is a lucky guy whose basket is the lucky basket. Anyway, so today in preparing for the Chinese American Film Festival on the 10th year, we have invited some big shots of Hollywood. First, I would like to introduce our director, Rusty.
Hey, nice
welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
And secondly, I want to introduce you, Nina, as the leading actress of one film which we're going to talk about. So welcome, Nina Zhou, to the show.
My pleasure.
Last but not least, I put you in the last because I respect you the most. Because I have to collect some efforts before announcing your name in position. The producer, Sahir. All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having us.
Good. So you're the one holding the money. You're the one that we all look upon like this. Like this, right.
Well,
so we're the one doing the job, right?
Well, her job is have to find the money and have to make sure that everything else is going correctly and to put everything together.
And every penny is spent in the rightful way.
Yeah,
a lawful way. The lawful way. All right, good.
Well, no, the directors are just there to kind of have fun and tell a story, but the producer is the one who actually keeps us on our feet and keeps
Is she also cutting the paycheck?
Well, it's complicated.
She's also doing that, right?
Good. She does a lot of things, but
well, she does at least above line, below line, stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, so it's always a good location to be here in Hollywood because we're just in the capital of films, right? In this world, nowadays world, when earthlings are talking about films, we're talking about Hollywood.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Yeah. So to have the big shots from Hollywood to come on my show is a big day, certainly, isn't it? Right?
I would hope so.
I don't know if I'd call us big shots, but at the same time, we do enjoy being in Hollywood, and there's a lot of opportunity here.
You know what? In the whole industry, nobody's a big shot, nobody's a small shot.
That's true.
Everybody's a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
All depends if you're lucky or not. That's it.
Yeah. All just around the corner, there's opportunity.
And in my eye, you guys are all the talented. That's it. Right? So it is a film that we talked about a little bit about 2-something years ago, Hightower, right?
Yeah.
That was the shorty at that time, the short film at that time. Right now, they are ready to do a full feature length. I would like you to make the announcement, please, the director.
Well, we're not exactly completely there as far as making the feature film, but we're looking at either a feature film or we're looking at maybe turning it into a television show. We think Robert Rodriguez's El Rey Network would be a great place for us. So I'm not exactly ready to announce anything yet, but it's very close, and we think. And we really appreciate the Chinese American Film Festival. We're obviously alumni. That's where our film came in, and that was where it was really an important place for us to show our film. So yeah, we love the Chinese American Film Festival, and we always love being around.
So one thing for sure that you want to do something bigger than before.
Of course, of course.
And the reason I still drag you over to here to talk about it is because it has a good story.
Yeah, it is. It's very.
Do you believe, as a producer, I know you look around everywhere about where to put the money to, or even look around for where to get the money from, right? So it is a story that catches your eye, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for independent productions. I think Hollywood's, the big Hollywood features have a very good lock on, the big explosions and crazy, that costs tons and tons of money. So when you're looking at things with more reasonable budget size, then, that's how you're differentiating is it telling a good story?
Exactly, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah. You can't blow anything up.
Sure. All right, okay.
Cannot blow anything
So
up.
when it comes to you, that directors call you, say, Nina, come over here, we'll do a feature length. What's your first response?
Not happened yet.
What's your first reaction?
Hopefully. What's my first?
Can you move closer to the
sure.
camera, please? Because you're so beautiful. You want to see the face close up? Yeah, good. So, what was your first response, first reaction when you learned about the fact that the director and producer want to do a big way?
They want to do the full length. I
Yeah.
knew that already.
I mean, the moment you learned about it.
Yeah, like what was your reaction when you
What
read
was
the
your
full-length
reaction?
script?
Did you-
Because
Oh,
we
yeah.
had
My
sent her the
question.
full-length script, and then she had taken a look at it because she had actually done the short film before she'd ever read the full-length.
Yeah, I know that. But so you have the whole.
Yeah,
you have.
really.
I know. My question was that when you learned about the news about they plan to do it full feature length, what was your first reaction?
I think that kind of story deserved to be made as a full length.
You thought the story deserves to be
Yeah.
to be made bigger, right? Okay, good. Look around for Hollywood films. I don't know if you agree with me, director. There are big films.
Yeah.
There are big shots. There are scenes that even shakes you, even rock you.
Yeah.
You mentioned about explosion, right?
Yeah.
You can spend $10,000 for one explosion, and you can do $100,000 for one explosion, only to make it bigger.
Yeah.
But when you look back after the explosion, or even before the explosion, there was no story.
No, I completely agree.
There was no story. There is no story about it. So what's your comment about that part, being the money person?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying is, when you only have, when you don't have hundreds of millions of dollars, you can't cover up a lack of story by just, having a bunch of CG effects or explosions or whatnot. So you pretty much have to make sure that, anything that's getting funded does have a solid core because that's getting down to the heart of the matter, and that's what people are going to see, and nobody's going to say, wow,
Sure.
that was a cool explosion because, well, we might have only had money for one,
yeah.
and a kind of small one.
Well, and here's the other thing you got to really think about is when you're making a Hollywood movie, and you're right, they have these explosions. It's almost a circus. It's a spectacle. There's all these amazing things happening, and that's great. But she's right. When you're on a small budget, you're almost doing more of a play on camera than you are doing a circus.
That's
very important.
I have no problem to spend lots of money if they have the money to do even one shot, even 1 second shot, like that kind, right? But it has always come to one point, like say, to give you an example, very vivid example. I came from China.
Of course.
I stay here 30 years. For 30 years, we celebrate the 4th of July with some firecrackers. We call fireworks, right? Back in China, we do it the big way, like those rocket thing, this big.
Okay.
And you light it, boom, bah! Goes to the sky like a real large rocket. Or you have the big one, big cracker, like this, and you light it, bomb. It is big. And then during the compact time, when you have a bunch to do, you bing, bomb, 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 right?
Okay.
So after that, dead silence. Before that, dead silence. Right? Now you exploded for the purpose of explosion. That's it. Right? The same thing here when you do fireworks. You do the firework for the purpose of doing it. Before, after, there's nothing. There's no story to link it. It's the part supposed to happen.
Well, and I think it's really important because you have a story like The High Tower, and for the audience members, it's a gangster movie about gangsters who come from China,
exactly.
and they're having a really hard time just kind of dealing with life because there's all this sadness and grief that comes along with all the violence of being a gangster, and it's kind of how they're learning to deal with it as people because you often miss these things with the characters, and I think it's a really interesting exploration of who these people are.
Sure.
And at the same time, I think once you've built up that core, then you can have the big shootouts, and then you can have the big Hong Kong fun fight scenes. But before that, you need to care about the people before they're in peril.
Exactly.
It's very important.
Once again, we're talking about, I totally collide with you on this one because you have a story. For example, you have to have a story. For example, if you shoot something, somebody closed, bang, shut the door. Bang, the door is shut, right? And you can do the bang with $10,000, with hundreds of thousands of dollars if you have money. You can even let the picture fall, right?
I think
if you can you can even let the door break.
I think when we would do the shooting scenes, one of the ways we got around it was when we would have somebody point the gun instead of actually using blanks, because blanks are kind of instead of doing that, we would just cut to black, and then we would just have a shot. We would just have the sound of a shot over the soundtrack, and it was able to do a creative way about us shooting people, but it was also able to save us a little bit of money in the process. And I think as a creative outlet, I think it actually worked quite well.
Yeah, back to my point though, the bang shot of the door is one thing, but why would this person bang shot the door is the other.
That's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
yeah,
the part
I think really if you're doing a lot of action without an actual narrative thread, I mean, at that point, why bother having actors? I mean, that's why you see things, like the super big budget things like Transformers. It's like those movies don't even need people.
No,
like they're just
right.
I mean, it's really because nobody actually remembers what the plot is.
Oh my God, I gotta shake hands. All right, good.
Deals are big.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, nobody remembers what the plot is,
like
like what the humans were doing. All they remember is robots were fighting, things exploded.
And Transformer, it's not only
and-
one. And you have two, you have three, you have four, the number goes on and on. It's transforming the film industry from a human involved industry into machineries.
Right.
Yeah,
and
I
haven't seen the new Transformers, but I've seen 1, 2, and 3. I have no idea what happens in those movies.
Oh, there's four. There's four.
I haven't seen the new one yet, but if you asked me what the plot of any of those movies were, I couldn't tell you.
Oh my God. Sir, back to my audience. Even before we touch the film High Tower, we're having fun already.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, it's the basic. After all, it's the basic. To me, it's the very basic. You're talking about stories. There was one time I was talking to one of the Hollywood senior producers. He had a famous quotation, if I may quote him. He said, "What is a story? What is film? Story. Who are filmmakers? Storytellers. Whose story? Human story." That's the answer.
No, yeah, that is completely.
All right, let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll find exactly our subject matter, which is High Tower. Stay with us.